Hey there, welcome to this episode of Author Success Show. The special guest we have today is Smita Gupta Agrawal. Smita is the author of this amazing book called Illuminating Shadows. From being just another girl raised in a middle class family in India to the global stage as Mrs. India Globe and Mrs. Asia Pacific 2004, Smita Gupta Agrawal's life is a remarkable tale of ambitions and achievements. Diverging from a thriving entertainment career in order to prioritize her family, she redefined the engineering graduate she was and emerged as a woman leader, an IT executive in corporate America. As a single divorced mother, Smita raised her two beloved sons by herself. In her debut book, Illuminating Shadows, unveiling life's unexpected lessons for success, Smita shares her inspirational journey, which is a testament to resilience, determination, and the pursuit of dreams. Hey, Smita, welcome to Author Success Show.
Thank you, Jyotsna. Pleasure to be here.
I feel so good when I have newly published authors like you on the show because, this is a new chapter of your life that's beginning after you become an author, right?
Totally, totally. I mean, this is a brand new journey, author journey for me. This is a debut book.
Mm.
And this is something that I had in mind for the last, I would say, 2, 3 years. I really wanted to I thought I had a message.
Mm.
And we all have a story. And I felt like this story can help other people as well.
Mm.
But again, self-doubt comes in and you wonder, everyone has an interesting story. Everyone goes through ups and downs in life. So what's so special about this?
Mm.
But as I was navigating my personal and professional life, and I was speaking with people and people reaching out to me as everyone experiences something or the other. So whether it was professionally, I was working with JP Morgan at that time as an executive director. So people who were looking to grow in their career, women and men,
Mm.
and they felt like they have hit a rock.
Yeah.
Somewhere there's a glass ceiling, and they've reached where they wanted. They thought that this is it. They can't do anything beyond that, but there was this wish, and there was a hope, and there was a dream to do more, to accomplish more. So how do you break that glass ceiling?
Right.
And so I was working with them, and then personally also, I'm a single divorced mom to my two awesome sons.
Yeah.
So I had been raising my sons for it's been 6 years now,
Mhm.
and as people saw that instead of being this poor bichari, divorced mom, how
Mhm.
is she navigating? They saw strength, and they saw positivity, and they saw growth,
Mm.
um, and they wanted to ask how I navigated this
Yeah.
single parent journey, and how was it. What was my experience of marriage, and
Mm.
what is it that worked and what didn't work?
Mm.
And my thing is not about what I'm doing is right, or what I did it was a complete failure. It's just a journey. If we
Mm.
can just detach ourselves and stop labeling events
Yeah.
in our life, saying this is good and this is bad,
Yeah.
we can just see and look at it for what it is.
Mm.
There's so much to learn from that itself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And when I started doing that, I mean, it's not just about walking out of a relationship. It is also about staying in there and improving and working on it and partnering with your partner, truly partnering with your partner. So when I was sharing those kind of things with people in my one-on-one sessions, they would often ask me, "Hey, can we record this?
Uh-huh.
Is this written down somewhere?" And that's what gave me this idea that maybe there is some value in sharing, because
Mm.
the idea is not about me saying, okay, listen to me, listen to my life. I mean, that's so boring. After a while, it's so boring for everyone else. It is about them
Yeah.
seeing someone else navigate that, and then they can dig deeper into their lives,
Yeah.
um, their own thoughts, and get to learn from their own journey. I mean, of
Yeah.
course, we look at others and we get to see how others are doing things, but then we also do some introspection, like, I can do this like that, and maybe this is going to work better.
Yeah.
So that's where long answer, but that's how I finally mustered enough courage
Yeah.
and started exploring and how to go about being an author and what all this world entails. And here I
It is
am.
so amazing, Smita, because you are saying that only a couple of years ago you got the idea of writing a book. But anyone who gets to know about your life, you've been having some amazing achievements in your life for a long time, right? You won so many international beauty pageants, and you've had success in corporate America, and you've had challenges as well in your life, like your divorce. So, usually, people, as soon as they have an achievement or as soon as they have a breakdown, that is when they get inspired to write. But you waited for more than like 2 decades, like so many events kept happening in your life. So, would you say that the wake up call for you to write a book was all these people asking you for a book?
I would say so. I have been an avid reader myself, so I value books, and
Mm.
I feel like there's knowledge everywhere, and I am going to be a student for life. But me writing a book, I genuinely never thought of it. I mean, people would have questions, people would ask for
Mm.
suggestions and advice, and that I kept doing. But in my head, I used to think an author. I mean, you got to be an
Yeah,
expert, and of
yeah.
course, you need to understand your genre or your book, your
Mm.
content really well. But it was more so, at least for me, my personal experiences when I felt that it's not going to be just another book, which is about motivation and resilience and positive thinking. It has something more than what is already out there,
Sure.
and that's the kind of feedback that I'm getting. So it has to be engaging and entertaining. It
Mm.
should be relatable. It should have some data to back up what I'm saying. So
Mm.
that's where the human research and human psychology and the social psychology research that I had been doing for years comes in. And then finally, it has to be about the reader, not
Yeah.
about the author,
Not about the author.
not about the author. And when, see, I was navigating my own life and I was looking for information. We live in a world where there's a whole lot of information.
Mm.
The internet times that we are in, I mean, go to any platform, there's so much information available. So
Mm.
there's no lack of that. We all know things, but then do we apply them? Like it's here,
Yeah.
do we get it here? Because
Mm.
once it gets to here, that's when it shows up in actions, right?
Yeah.
First, it happens in our mind, in our thoughts, then in our heart with our emotions. And once that it's there, that's when we put it to work in actions. So
Right.
for me, so it was a journey that I traversed. And when I was able to do this time and again successfully,
Mm.
and sometimes not as successfully, but then I learned in that process. And this also taught me that maybe going along this path where you have the information, you
Mhm.
gather it, but then that bridge that needs to happen between here to here,
Yeah.
that's sometimes it's a lifelong one for people. S-
Mm.
when I was able to do that and set an example for others and help them navigate their life in a similar fashion, that's when it was like, okay, I think there is some value to this, let's do it.
So true. I think a lot of times when we achieve something in our lives, we don't take it so seriously. We don't value it that much because we are so close to seeing ourselves every day. But when you're adding value to other people's lives and they give you feedback that what you're doing is amazing, that's amazing validation. And that's what I think is the signal that most authors wait for before starting to write their book.
That's right, I would completely agree. And then you have a larger purpose.
Hmm.
It's beyond you, it's for others,
Correct.
and that brings so much fulfillment.
Yeah.
Yes, we all live for ourselves, for our children, spouses, family, friends, but colleagues, but then that circle stops.
Very limited. Yeah.
Still very limited, right? There are what, 8 billion of us now on the planet. So expand your circle.
Yeah.
And if there is value, not everyone you can connect with directly one on one, but if you create a tool such
Mm.
as a book or a video or an audio book that reaches out to various people around the world, and they derive some value out of that. I mean, it's in itself, you feel like, okay,
So
even if it
fulfilling.
helped a dozen people, I feel really good about it.
So true. What I also resonate with, which you just mentioned, is that the book is not about the author or for the author, but it is all about the reader and to help the reader. And you've done it so well in the book, Smita, because you could have written it as a memoir or an autobiography, but instead you made it or you packaged it as a self-help book. At the end of every chapter, you have a list of to-dos for the reader so that they just don't get inspired by your story and forget about it, but they actually reflect and start taking action in their own life. So when you structure the book, again, I love the structure because it's not just a list of chapters, but there are also sections. I think there are 4 different sections in the book. So when you started writing your book, how did you decide what part of your life you want to share and what part of your life is not relevant to the book and you want to leave it out?
Yes. So, and that's a very good question.
Mhm.
And if you recall, there was a lot of back and forth. I reached out to you and the Happy Self Publishing team to help me where I was kind of experiencing that writer's block,
Mhm.
especially around the chapter around divorce, because
Yeah.
I didn't want to come across as someone who's just being a crybaby.
Mm.
Um, I also didn't want to put anyone down.
Down. Yeah.
They are all family. You know, we are one family, whether you call it an extended one or an immediate one, but we're one family. The idea really, so how did coming back to your question, how did I pick and choose
Mm.
which instances from my life are of value? Again, I sat in the seat of my readers. I can blabber. I know my life inside out, and I think it's quite interesting. But we all do think that
Yeah.
way, right? We have an interesting life. If this little story that I'm telling can help someone else, and their story is going to be different. It's not going to be an exact replica of what I'm experiencing, but if it can add value, so
Mhm.
inspiration and motivation can only last for a short time.
Yeah.
So that's what is my story. The first part of each chapter is doing. After that, there would be people like, okay, it's just a story, so there's no data to back it up. It's just
Mm.
a story. It's fiction written, okay, memoir, your life, but written in an interesting way. I'm done with it. But then there's data, and data also in a simplified way, so we all can process it. I
Yeah.
didn't use those heavy jargons.
Mm.
Which are there. So after the book has been published, I did meet a lot of psychologists
Mhm.
who have read the book, and we were talking about what this phenomena is really called in that particular subject in that
Right.
area. But I was so happy to hear that the experts in that field also mentioned that this is stated in your book in such a simplified manner
Mm.
that normal day-to-day people can process it. So that was
Yeah.
the data part. But then finally, it was about the reader when we delve into the to-do section after each chapter.
Mm.
Yes, that was my story. Here's the data, but what about you? A certain stage or a phase in your life that you have experienced, and you don't have to go out and tell the entire world about it in the
Mm.
privacy of your room, of your home, of your office, wherever you are. Can you take a moment
Mm.
and think about this question?
Right.
What comes to mind? Do you get to know yourself a little better? Do you think your life, certain instances or events in your life have shaped you in a certain way? Just that acknowledgement and understanding and acceptance is
Mm.
very powerful. Now you decide, you be in the driver's seat and you decide, do you want to change anything?
Right.
Because you have the power to be able to change that. And
Mm.
if you so choose, you say, no, everything is perfect. I don't want to change anything. All the power to you, do not change anything. But just be aware of yourself, your life experiences a little more. So
Mm.
anytime you are feeling that, okay, I want to go further with my dreams and I want to accomplish, I'm at point B and I want to go to, let's say F
Yeah.
or O, whatever it is. I can do that, but then there are some beliefs that I have that
Mm.
are not empowering,
Mm.
and this is where it's coming from. You have the root cause already. you are now in the driver's seat. You can make those conscious changes. And that essentially was the idea. Yes, we can read a psychology book. You can read 3 books. You can read a fiction book
Yeah.
called Memoir, which is written in an engaging way. Then
Mm.
you can read a psychology book, and
With
then you
all
can,
the facts and data. Yeah.
yes, yes. Well, can you bundle it all together?
Mm. Absolutely. And your book is the perfect example for that.
Yes, yes. So that was the idea. I've been told it's not one of those formats that you see very often.
Mm.
But again, kudos to you, shout out to you, and happy self-publishing, because you believed in that, right?
And I think
I
that's I think the reason why everyone should self-publish, because then you decide the format, you call the shots. You don't have a publisher dictating to you that this is the standard format and you need to succumb to that. It's not necessary anymore.
Agreed, agreed. And when you're doing it the first time, and you're not a super popular personality out there, you would anyways have to look for publishers who are willing to publish your book, your work. And like you said, if you are trying to do something which is different from what's out there, it's a different uh, I don't know. I can't even call it a genre. It's just a different format that you
Yeah.
want to do. Not everyone would embrace that.
Mm.
So it's great when you're starting up. Self-publishing is a great way to go ahead. And if you are able to work, you're able to find and then work with really skilled and experienced people like yourselves, and that gives a new author, a debut author, the confidence to go out and publish that work,
Sure.
because it's blessed by experienced, skilled people.
Sure. We'll come back to the publishing part in a bit, but let's go back to the writing. So when you decided that this is what I'm going to talk about, how was your writing process like? Would you look at one chapter at a time and write it completely and then move on to the next with all the data and the story and the to-dos? Or would you just write the entire story in one go and then deal with different sections later? How was your process? Because each author has their unique process, and I wanted to understand
Yes.
yours.
Yes. So mine was that I went ahead and first wrote my story.
Mm.
I did not think about sections and chapters at that point. It was just in the flow where I was picking and choosing the specific events that I wanted to share. And of course, you go back and scratch and you edit and you do all of that. So I did that. But that was the one go that I did,
Mhm.
which lasted a few months. Then I had been doing, I am super interested in how human mind works and what why do we feel emotions, and what is it in the emotions, and how people actually take action
Right.
um, and achieve things. So I have always been a very inquisitive person. All my life I've been this way, and this particular topic I have been studying for more than 1.5 decade on my own, just
Mm.
as a hobby. So I had done a lot of research, and
Yeah.
I would make notes. So
Mm.
in my notebook and in my notepad on my
But back
laptop,
back then, you
phone,
didn't have the plan of writing the book, but you
not
still
at
made a
all.
lot of notes.
This was for me.
Yeah.
This was for me, so I can go back and read through those notes,
Mm.
white papers, books I had read over the years, whatever I could get my hands to, I would
Mm.
read that. So I had all that data. So then once the memoir part of my story was done, then I went in, I looked through that information. I of course did if more research, if there's fresh information on these topics.
Mhm.
So then I started embedding that into the second part of my chapter. And then finally, the to do came from what I had done in my life to get a better, deeper understanding of me and my life.
Mhm.
So those were there were quite a few questions. I write a journal. I've been doing this for many years now.
Right.
So I did have my questions and answers over there. So I picked some from there, and some was like doing this again and going in that flow. There were additional questions which I felt would be helpful.
Mm.
And then finally, the first two people to read my book were my two sons, or I would say manuscript.
Right.
Yeah, so I shared it with my sons because I all definitely wanted them to be very comfortable. So
Mm.
once they blessed the book,
Then you sent it to us.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes.
Right. I think that's a great takeaway because for any author, they know their life story better than any other data or research. So first write your story, and then you can do the edits, and then you can add in the research. Otherwise, a lot of people, they just get stuck in chapter one, trying to make it better, trying to add a smart, nice quote, trying to back it with some survey information. But all that can happen later. First, put out your story and just release it from your system first.
Exactly. I mean, that's a great point because that's where I was stuck for first couple of months. When
Mm.
I decided that I'm going to start writing, I would just keep doing. I mean, in like more than 2 weeks, I was able to write two pages because I would just keep going back and rereading and editing
Yeah.
and then refining and doing more research and then starting to doubt whether this is good or not. So, like you said, it's actually the information dump
Mhm.
first and then do the refining part later. Come back to it, but
Yeah.
first you just need to put it all down.
Great. So, any writing ritual or technique that you would like to share with the people watching? Because a lot of people who are our followers are first-time authors. So, and I'm sure after high school, many people would not even have submitted long-form writing papers. So, what would be your tip to people who need to sit down and write?
Um, just that, what you said. Sit down and write, and make it a daily habit.
Mm.
So for me, if I would just think that I'm going to write, first of all, I'm constantly, whether I'm cooking something in the kitchen or I'm driving, I would have some idea, some thoughts, something is always playing a script where I'm going to go next. But then to be able to put your thoughts on paper, you need to be very disciplined about it
Mm.
and say every single day, this time of the day, morning, evening, different people function differently. For me, it was an early morning thing once I'm done with my meditation.
Mm.
I would block, and of course, you would have to get up early because everyone has a day job. You have things to take care of, kids to,
Yeah.
send to school and whatnot. So for me, morning time was definitely it before my mind would start churning with other things.
Mhm.
I would sit there for an hour, and there were times when I'm just sitting with my notebook and I would just accomplish two sentences. But I
Right.
did not stop. That was a discipline that I had to do for, like they say, it takes 21 days to form a habit. So
Mm.
I stayed with it for 3 weeks, but that eventually you start seeing results. And it was
Yeah.
not just 1 hour a day. You are, as an author, you're doing a lot more writing.
Mm.
And once you are in it, you're not stopping.
Then you have
You're
that flow. Yeah.
you are in the flow. It's just in the beginning that people would struggle. They'll get all these questions about whether I should or shouldn't.
Yeah.
Um, they wouldn't find the time
Mm.
to be able to do that. So structure that. I'm not saying structure your story or whatever you're trying to write. First, don't structure anything. Just put it all down. At least
Mm.
that's what worked for me. But structure your day, your time, and make sure every day you dedicate some time to
Mm.
writing.
Yeah, so true. So that time block is super important, especially in the beginning, so that you get into this new habit of writing.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
especially for a first-time author. Once you've
True.
done it a few times, you know
So
what
what
the.
works? Yeah, yeah.
Yes, exactly,
Correct.
exactly. Yeah. So first-time authors,
Mhm.
yes, have to have
Right.
that discipline to write and then just sit and write.
Yeah. The other cool thing in your book, Smita, is you have this nice acronym called Lucky. And you want your readers to follow those 5 steps. And that kind of summarizes the full book. And I feel it's such a great technique because people will remember that even if they don't remember anything else about the book. and that makes the book actionable. So was it like an afterthought, or did you always want to have something that people can take away from the book?
You know what? This was this is something that has come to me as I heard sometimes people would say, "Oh, you're just lucky." Yeah, you're just lucky. And I would say, yes, I'm blessed. I'm so blessed, but so are you. We all are.
Hmm.
Um, and I felt that many times we just say we see someone who is achieving things, who is successful in our eyes. We
Hmm.
see them as successful. And sometimes we see the hard work behind that success. And sometimes we're like,
We
yeah, we're
don't.
doing the hard work too. Why am I not getting promoted?
Hmm.
Why is
And,
she
and we call
getting,
that person as just lucky.
yeah, oh, she's just lucky. And
Hmm.
I said, okay, all right, so let's all get lucky. And there has to be something that when we say lucky, it triggers another point that, okay, so lucky has these letters, Lucky, and that holds a very strong meaning. So if
Hmm.
she's lucky, so can I be. And what are those steps? So that was just like a quick reminder that hey, anytime we're labeling someone else as lucky, we're like, yeah, we're lucky too. And what did this person do to get there? And so can I. And it's easy to remember as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. I got this lucky idea somewhere even before I started writing the book, but how exactly I'm going to word that
Yeah.
and how what each letter is going to stand for, that was during the process of writing the book. That's how it came about.
Yeah. I think it gels perfectly with the theme of the book.
Thank you.
Yeah. So after you finished writing and all of that, did you decide the title much later? The book's title?
So you know this. I had a
Yeah.
lot of ideas.
You had tons of different ideas, I know. So how
Yeah.
how was that whole process of finally nailing the book's title?
Um, So as I was coming up with all these book title ideas, and I was debating, I was sitting and discussing with both my sons also. Um, and as cliche this might sound, in my my meditation, um, that's when, at least for me, I am most calm, and
Mm.
that's where most of my clarity comes from. So I had at that point narrowed it down to three, four very good titles.
Yeah.
And the thought there was, what is truly your message for the world?
Mm.
If you just had like one line or one sentence or a couple of words that you wanted to use to convey to the world that this is what I stand for and this is what I'm trying to do. And I was like, yeah, I'm just trying to say, hey, we all will have shadows because nobody goes through life without them.
Yeah.
And the jewels actually lie in the shadows. All we need to do is just illuminate the shadows, pick
Mm.
those jewels, and live our lives to the best of our potential.
Mm.
So it's like, yeah, light the shadows, and that's where the illuminating shadows came from.
Amazing. I think this is very powerful advice, not just for choosing book titles, but for many areas of our life where we get too confused. I think instead of going with the cool option or the trending option, if we just listen to our heart and pick the one that we truly stand for, I think that has to be the right decision.
Yes, yes. At least for me, that has worked really well. And I will actually quote Namita Gokhale ji here. If for people who don't know who she is, she's an author, a renowned one. She's written 21 books, if I'm getting the number right, Namita ji. And she's the co-founder of the Jaipur Literary Festival.
Mhm.
Um, so in I was in India for a book tour. I started my book tour from India
Yeah.
because that's where this whole story of my life
Started. Yeah.
begins, yes, began. So that's what I wanted to do. And I happened to meet Namita Gokhale at the Jaipur Literary Fest. And of course, I presented my book to her. I signed my first book for her, as in, till then, I had never signed any copy of my book. So,
Right.
that was a great blessing, a great start. And I was asking her for advice. So
Mm.
she wanted to know more about me, more about the book, and I was sharing that. And I said, okay, so what's your advice? What would you suggest I should do, or new authors should
Mm.
do? Because we don't have a big publisher backing us up and a whole lot of marketing happening for us. And she said, just be authentic.
Mm.
Don't try to copy anyone else. Just it seems like your book is all heart. You're truly coming from a place of trying to help others, and you've put
Right.
yourself in a very vulnerable spot
Mm.
by sharing things which most people would like to try and hide. We live in
Yeah.
this world of showing the world, see how cool our life is,
Yeah.
right? But you have mustered the courage to come out and say, hey, there were things which didn't work that well. And if you continue on that path and be authentic with your book, I think it's going to do great. And that reminded me of how, again, we were talking about, like, how did I decide on the title? Of course, the book cover was all you guys, no
Mm.
contribution from me over there. This amazing book cover that everyone sees here, this is all Happy Self Publishing. But yes, be authentic,
Yeah.
and there's no one who knows your story,
Better than.
your message better than you.
Mm. Such good advice, Mita. So, talking about the cover, the editing, the interior design, how did you enjoy the whole process? Because as a first-time author, I'm sure everything would have been totally new. But how did you go through the process with us?
Yes. So, and I'll just start from the very top. So,
Yeah.
the way you guys, Happy Self Publishing, and the team, I interacted with the team and you. Um, First of all, it's very important for a new author to understand what are the different steps. What is the process?
Mm.
Because in our heads, at least in mine, it was like, okay, I'm going to write my manuscript and magically the
It
book
will
is going
get
to come out.
published. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So understanding the entire process and someone being there to support your Q&A, right? When I was told there are going to be 3 and more rounds of editing, and understanding, okay, what are these rounds for and what exactly we need to focus on. Then similarly on the book cover, it's not just that I'll be given one book cover and I'll have to go with it. There were multiple options. And I was made to fill out a form.
Mhm.
What is it that my vision is? It's not that I'll just, this is off to a designer, they'll just give me a cover. So there's a part of me in everything. So my vision was factored into
Mhm.
this very structured process of converting a manuscript into a full-on published book, right? So the entire journey with Happy Self Publishing was very well guided. It was very well structured and supported, and that really helps. It helped me, and I'm sure it would help new authors navigate that. And there was also that encouragement, that motivation. So there were times when I was just not being productive. I was stuck at that divorce chapter, and I was like, I'm not sure I want to do this. I don't know about the chapter, or maybe I don't even know about the book. You remember that?
Yeah,
Right in the
absolutely.
middle of that entire process, and there was encouragement, and there was support, and there was genuine advice, where I would write tidbits and share with you guys. So my experience, all in all, has been a great one, a fabulous one. I would do this again. There's definitely more
More
to come.
books.
More
Absolutely.
books inside, yes, and
Right.
it's happening with you guys.
Thank you so much, Smita. By working with you, what I learned is You totally trusted the team. And that is really important to, come up with a great product. And not just after working with us, but you just paid the deposit even before you were ready with the manuscript. And that's a
Yeah,
good thing, I would say, because now you're fully in, you're totally committed. Now you cannot take it back. We know that your book is
exactly.
coming up. So I think if every author just takes that first step, the rest of it is going to be easier because now you have a team to support you. You're not doing this alone anymore.
Exactly. So somewhere we have to go ahead and commit. And sometimes we would commit in words, and that would just mean the world to us, and we'll stick to it. But
Mhm.
sometimes um, during that process, we will be a bit shaky, not so sure about whether I want to do this or not.
Mhm.
When I was so strongly feeling about, okay, I'm committed to this, this is my calling, I'm going to write a book. I went ahead and did my entire deposit, and there was like, okay, do it or lose it. What are you going to do? And there was support from the team. It wasn't like, okay, you were not productive for a month. That's it. Your time, you're running out of time, and now we're, the time is over. That's not the message I got from Happy Self Publishing.
Mhm.
So, very supportive, very skilled people that I've worked with. I'm just honored, and I'm so fortunate to be
Okay.
able to find you guys. Really, I mean it.
Thank you so much, Smita. My team is going to love this interview.
Thank you. Please convey my love and regards to all of them.
Absolutely. So after the book got published, now you are not just limiting your reach through the book, but you're also going on stages. You had an incredible India tour. So could you talk about that experience? How did you feel when you started interacting with people, either from a stage or on a one-on-one basis? How did that feel after becoming an author?
Um, it felt, what's the right word? It felt like the purpose that I had when I started writing the book, I am, making it real.
Mm.
Um, it felt like I'm adding value to other people's lives. So I'll give you a few examples. So in Jaipur, I was invited by Jaipur National University to deliver two talks to their students and faculty.
Mhm.
And now we are talking about like 250 to about 300
Students.
students in the audience. The auditorium was packed. And I didn't go with a script. I didn't go with a, paper where I would just stand at the podium and I would talk. Because to me, the main messages that I have, they are there in the book. But then there are a lot of us who, before we even pick up the book,
Mm.
um, we want to have that kind of a one-on-one connection. We want someone to delve into our life, our immediate challenges, and tell us how these can be solved, how things can be done in a better way.
Yeah.
So I approached these sessions in a way of getting to know the audience. I
Mm.
was right in the middle of the audience. I was speaking with the students. I was speaking with the faculty. I was coming up. So one of the topics was, but basically, how to have a problem solver
Mm.
mindset,
Mindset. Mm.
right? And instead of going back to the book and quoting what I have written and what I have experienced, I was in the audience asking, okay, let's come up with a problem.
Mm.
We will first be in that mindset of saying, oh my God, look at this problem. And we'll create all the stories that our mind creates around the problem, right? We will be in that mindset.
Mm.
And then we'll all together experience that mindset shift right here live. And then we'll become problem solvers. So there
Mm.
were, I was like, okay, anyone, no problem. And interestingly, people came up with, okay, we all agreed in like a group of 300 people that yes, social media. What about social media? Well, when we are with our family, we're sitting in the same room, but on our phones, we are on different platforms, so we're not interacting as much.
Mm.
Okay, so in that mindset, we'll say, we'll share how big that problem is.
Right.
And there were things coming in from faculty members, like my husband, he's always on the phone, whether it's work or something else. He
Mhm.
doesn't have time for me, for kids. Um, the kids were like, there's stuff that's so interesting on social media. We would rather be there than mom saying what we haven't done, we haven't picked this, dad complaining about we not doing things right. And suddenly from that, people were like, yeah, we don't connect that well with our family. We
Mm.
love them, but I don't know if I can communicate a whole lot. So we started getting bigger with the problem, and
Right.
somehow deeper as well.
Nice.
Right? So as a group, we were like, okay, this is a big problem. And I said, all right, so now we know what the problem is. Now the entire room,
Mhm.
we will sit in the seat of solutioning.
Mm.
We will say, okay, this is a problem. Somebody has presented that problem to us. We will detach our emotions and we will really think as, okay, I am an expert here and somebody has presented a problem. We're good at that, by the way.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
moment it's a problem in front of us, we're like, okay, I can solve this. And we want
Yeah.
to, but when we are embedded into the problem, it's like it said, you cannot find a solution to a problem with the same mindset that, or with the same
Created the
mind.
problem in the first place. Yeah.
Yes. So we did that live, and then we started coming up with different solutions. What is it that people or families can do to ensure that we have a better connect with each other instead of being on the social media? How is it? What are the practices we can follow? What are
Mm.
the things that we can do? What children can do? What people can do as life partners? That would work.
Right.
And it's amazing, Jyotsna, how we came up with a list of things to do immediately ourselves and then with our family. And how do we communicate better? So we
Mm.
didn't expect that we would come up with like, how do we have a better connection and how do we communicate and how do we make suggestions when we're trying to bring about a change?
Mm.
But suddenly we were able to do that. So, going back to how I felt that I was able to empower people when they were walking out of that session. They had practical tools to work with.
Mm.
And they, because they had done, now they had some experience of, okay,
How
how
to
are we
go, how to approach a
from.
problem. Yeah.
Yes. So very fulfilling experience. I felt like this is something I would like to do a lot more of. I was also invited by Apollo College of Veterinary Medicine. I was
Mm.
there. In Bhopal, there is Club Literati, and
Mm-hmm.
they discussed my book at length. Um,
Nice.
yes, the DML approach, the last chapter,
Uh-huh.
uh, and practical questions, the experiences people are having, or where people are stuck, and how can we approach this
Mm.
instead of just saying, no, no, just think positive, don't think negative. Yes, I know you've been really sick for 10 years, but just stay with it, just be positive. It doesn't work.
Mm.
It doesn't work, right? I can do all the motivational talk and I can inspire. 1 hour after that, they are living in their body, in their
Yeah.
life. It comes back.
Mm.
That sadness will come back. That pain is real in their
Yeah.
body, in their life, whether it's a physical one, emotional one, or mental one. So
Right.
until and unless we give them the tools
Mm.
that work for them, and
Mm.
we empower them, we help them to figure out that tool.
Right.
It's there. How are you going to illuminate and figure out that jewel that's going to
Mm.
solve that for you? So that's essentially what I've been wanting to do. And these one-on-one sessions, or as when I get to work with the large group of people, it just gives me that opportunity to be able to delve into their individual custom uh,
Mm.
life experiences and give them just that, show them the light, if you
Right.
will. It's them showing the light to themselves, but just me becoming a medium to that, it just
Yeah.
is so fulfilling.
So
It's
nice to hear
a start.
this, Smita. So good to know that you're using your book as a very good tool to reach out to so many people and do the work that you really want to do, and help so many people. So just like how your sons are super proud of you, we at Happy Self Publishing are also so proud of your book and all the work that you're doing and you're going to continue doing. So where can people find out more about you and follow your work?
First of all, thank you for the kind words. It means a lot to me. Thank you. People can find me on LinkedIn, Smita G Agrawal. Look me up on Instagram, Calm Mind with Smita, and I'm also on Facebook. And
Great.
my
We'll
book,
have
of course, is there on Amazon.
Amazon. Yeah, we are going to have all the links below in the show notes. So, guys, please follow Smita. Go grab a copy of her book and let us know how you liked this episode. Thank you so much, Smita, for coming on Author Success Show.
Thank you so much for having me, Jyotsna.